Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Slice75 HE by Chilkey. Now this is a new copy that I got very recently because my older copy that I returned a while back had a ticking backspace issue where one of the keys was just ticking out of the box, which wasn't good. It felt really bad, especially compared to all the other keys, which felt very smooth. The backspace just didn't feel good. If you've experienced ticking on a keyboard before that's like developed over time on like the spacebar especially, you'll know what I'm talking about. It just really cheapens the feel of the keyboard itself, and you can't get rid of that unless you go into the keyboard, and I think it has something to do with like the plastic clips or something in like the actual housing, but you have to take apart like a lot of the keyboard, and I'm not super confident in that sort of area, so I'd rather just not do it on a keyboard I can just return right away, and that's what I did. And instead, I just got a new copy on Prime Day when it was on sale for around $150, and I think it's worth it for that price because it feels really good, especially for a Hall effect board. And now on this copy, I don't have a ticking backspace, and I don't have ticking on any of the other keys, at least to my knowledge. It all feels pretty good. Yeah, the keyboard just feels a lot better than the Polar 65, which was my previous Hall effect keyboard. It will take me a little bit to get used to the 75% layout. I do vastly prefer it over a 65 because I don't really need like the extra, or not the extra, I don't really need like the lesser keyboard in terms of the layout anyway. I'm fine with a little extra keys because I have enough desk space for it. But it will take me a little bit to get used to how far away the escape key is, because normally I'm just used to it being like right here, like where the, I forgot what this key is, but just where that is, but now it's like heightened because it's a 75% layout, but I do vastly prefer it over a 65 because F keys are nice. So yeah, overall, this keyboard is really good. It feels good. The performance is good. I do have one issue. Maybe it's like Linux specific. I haven't tested this on Windows. Maybe it's a problem with the keyboard itself. But for some reason, with the RGB lighting, whenever I turn on my PC, because I do use Linux, it is my main operating system. For some reason, the lighting just doesn't really work properly. Sometimes it'll be set to a different mode than I set it to before, like when it was turned on before and I just set it to like a different mode. It won't keep that same lighting mode. It'll just kind of set to like a random lighting mode for whatever reason. Or the lighting will just be turned off completely and then you have to turn it back on again. It's not that hard to turn it back on. You could just say FNX and then boom, you have your lighting on and off. But still, it's kind of annoying to do that every time. And again, I don't really know why it's doing this. It might be just something they do with Linux or something like that. So I've just kept it off. I don't really need it to be on really anyway. I don't really care about RGB. My mouse doesn't have RGB, so I think it's fine if my keyboard doesn't have RGB. And these also aren't shine-through keycaps, which isn't that big of a deal. But I think one of the big things that's a benefit for RGB, especially at night, is just if you have shine through keycaps, you can see the legends and all that, especially if you don't really know where everything is on a keyboard, kind of like me, because, yeah, I'm still not great when it comes to typing, but I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to build muscle memory anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. And again, even if I had RGB on and I wanted to keep it on and change it every time I booted up my PC, it still wouldn't be super beneficial even at night, because again, these aren't shine-through keycaps. I know you can get shine-through keycaps, but I'm kind of too lazy to get new keycaps because these are already pretty good. And yeah, everything feels good. All the stabilizers feel nice. Not really super mushy. I mean, the spacebar does feel mushy, but it's not mushy. It's just the stabilizer feels a lot better and a lot less like light, I guess, than my Polar 65, because I would say that that spacebar was a lot easier to like actuate and like lighter to press down, but still, like, this spacebar feels way better than the Polar 65 spacebar did. And also all the keys feel a lot better and feel really good for a Hall effect keyboard. So yeah, some people might not like the sound. I don't really think it's like that bad. It's also not super loud. I know some people don't like how loud it is, but to me, it's really not super loud. I would say that's like pretty moderate mechanical keyboard volume, and especially considering like clicky keyboards, I would say this is decently quieter than that, especially. So again, I don't really get some other complaints saying that it's like really loud. I don't think it's that loud. I think it's perfectly fine. I've open back headphones, and even then, I can't hear it in when I'm playing a game or something like that. Even when I'm like hearing back my own recordings where my mic does pick up some keyboard sounds, it's not super noticeable. It's still kind of in the background. So that's good. It's not, again, it's not like a clicky keyboard where it kind of just sticks out like a sore thumb, or a sore thumb, a sore thumb. And yeah, it's not as loud as that, which I'm glad it isn't, but still, again, it's really not super loud. So, besides that, the performance overall, I'm sorry it's taking me so long to get here, but the performance is pretty good. Fortunately, nothing has really changed about the performance each time I boot up this PC. It seems it keeps the performance settings that I changed it to in like the web-based software. And by the way, with the web-based software, I will have to say is a little finicky. You do have to use like Chrome or Edge in order to get the pop-up for you to pair your keyboard to the software to pop up. Because for whatever reason, it doesn't pop up in Firefox or any forks of Firefox to my knowledge. So you will have to use like Chrome or Microsoft Edge, but that's like the only thing I'm using those browsers for anyway, just for like very specific use cases. So it's not really that big of a deal for me. And you can also change all of these settings on the keyboard itself, which is really, really nice. So you don't have to go through the software if you don't want to. And I would recommend going through the software though. It's not super hard to get set up. It's a little finicky, as I said, but it's really not super hard to customize everything. And yeah, it's pretty easy. I would say for most people, it's a lot easier to customize that than rather just memorizing a bunch of shortcuts on the keyboard itself, in my opinion. So yeah, as I said, the performance is really, really good. It's very, very good, even for a Hall effect keyboard from what I've seen. You can go down to like, I think like 0.00 like 5 milliseconds. I wouldn't really recommend doing that because I think that's way too sensitive. I would recommend going somewhere between maybe 0.3 or like 1 millisecond in terms of the overall, or like the pressure, like I'm talking like the pressure you put on your key. I would recommend like setting that to between 0.3 or 1 millimeter of force. I think it's millimeter of force and not milligrams. So yeah, besides that, that is basically going to be it. As I said, this keyboard is really, really good. There's a few issues that I have with it that very well could be Linux, but it could maybe also be the keyboard itself, but they're not huge issues at all. And it's a lot better to have these like very, very minor issues compared to like, again, a ticking backspace, which was pretty annoying for me. The lighting issue really isn't that big of a deal. I could just keep it off. It's really not like a big deal breaker for me. And also like the specific like software you have to use or a browser you have to use to get into the web-based software is like kind of annoying, but it's not that big of a deal. It's pretty easy just to change all the stuff on the keyboard itself anyway. So yeah, that is basically going to be it, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.